Have a look at Martin Fitzwater. This is him at the 2024 Mr. Olympia event, where he placed fourth. Very good placing. It was his Olympia debut. A very, very good placing. Not many bodybuilders place as high as fourth during their debuts. I can think of a couple: Hattie Shupin, Lee Haney, and, oh my goodness, Phil Heath. That's right. He actually placed third during his Mr. Olympia debut. Mr. Fiddler's Phil. And that reminds me, when I said that, Fiddler's Phil, my dad, growing up, when he'd get angry, he'd say, "I don't give one fiddler's what you think." Of course, the drink made him angry. He doesn't tip the bottle anymore, so... But anyway, that's just a funny thing I thought of when I said Fiddler's Phil. Go to the friggin' poses here. You guys know what this is. It is a picture comparison between Phil Heath and Martin Fitzwater, both their Olympia debuts, both placing in that top four. With Phil, Fiddler's Phil, he got third. Wow. Two incredible debuts. I like the vacuum. Sometimes I like abs versus vacuum. In this instance, I think I prefer the vacuum. Both dudes doing battle as far as the lats are concerned, I'm here to tell you. Arms, Phil winning on that aspect. Phil has some great ones. Up there with the all-time greats. Now look at the quads. Oh my goodness. I think with Martin Fitzwater, we have a Phil Heath Part 2 in terms of the quad development. Now, sizing could be an issue. I had to place in the bottoms of Phil's calves there. The pictures from the 08, they didn't show the full body. And sizing is always an issue when you don't get the full body. But having said that, what a great little shootout, a great little pose. For pose number one, I'm sure most of you guys are going to give this one to Phil due to the arms, but man, look at that vacuum shot and the wheels. Probably the best, one of anyway, sets of quads on the 2024 Olympia lineup. And Phil, I would suggest, might have had the best set back in 2008. Jay Cutler wasn't the best in 2008. Still would have been close. But anyway, go to the front lat spread. Interesting. Phil Heath looks awesome in 08 in the front lat spread. No, he doesn't have a big wide clavicle. Martin actually beating him on that aspect. Look at his big man's manly chest on Martin, and you can see the look on his face. He's thinking, look at my big man's chest. Of course, when it comes to that in particular muscle group, Phil Heath, wow, you can see all of the striations and thick and, dare I say, three-dimensional muscle. He really does. Look at that upper body, round, full arms, forearms, 5 arms we'll call them. No, they're still forearms. Very impressive ones. And the midsection this time goes to Phil Heath. Absolute, and also an absolute victory, I would suggest, in the front lat spread when it comes to these two dudes. So out of the front, and that's kind of how I do things, out of the front, Phil probably winning. Go to the side here. Wow, Phil had some substance, boys, oh boys. Now the lower half, I will definitely give Martin Fitzwater his due. He is a battle for Phil Heath. Might not have the hanging hamstring quite to that. Well, it's close. And then the quads might even be bigger, fuller, rounder than Fiddler. But the calves, probably Mr. Dr. Phil Heath. Upper body. I mean, I don't think there's an argument. Now there is a split in the pec. Did he tear his pec when he was young? I think they're both torn. If that's the case, could be just a genetic thing. Rambo had the same thing from one of the covers from Rambo 2 or 3. One of the two. But yes, Martin does have a nice, big, round, full 70s bow of a chest. So That could win it for him too. I'm just not that confident. Side tricep. Not that confident in that or in the side tricep as well. And every time, Martin, he gives me that dirty look. Every time I show the side tricep. Just sitting there thinking, why are you doing me dirty like this, Mark's Max Muscle? Hey, should hit your side tricep like you do your side chest. You'd be at least a match for Phil. Actually, the arm, underrated, I think. It's similar. It's not being displayed as well. I think Phil has the superior tricep. But it is definitely a situation where Martin, if he was posing correctly, it's like almost Phil Heath, the same body, except he's just not striking the pose the same way. Phil's got the big man's chest in this situation. Sorry, Martin. Please don't be mad at me. I like the new hairdo. The important part is the back. A chance for Martin Fitzwater to get some back here. No pun intended, because he's not winning from the front or the side. He is harder and grainier. Keep in mind, this is 08, Phil. And if you guys were around, hey, it's kind of embarrassing to me, for me, but I kind of fell out of the scene, the bodybuilding scene, after Ronnie Coleman lost his title. And I did pay attention, and I remember them saying Phil Heath had a weaker back. I didn't pay any attention to it, but thinking back, it's like, he did have a weak back. He sure didn't after he became Olympia champion. But in this comparison, in this instance, a little shallower, but narrower is Phil's back, and shallower is Martin's. But I prefer Martin's. I mean, the lower half as well, guys. He's got the hamstrings to match Phil Heath. Phil's peeled. Martin's peeled. Maybe even better symmetry, proportions, or symmetry anyway, as far as the condition, symmetrical condition of the upper and lower half. But having said that, wow. Maybe Martin's strongest pose so far in this entire matchup, which is a mind blower. Here is the rear double. Ooh. Not as good for Martin. I love this little equation. When one guy's winning the back shot and then you go to the other. Phil's case, it's a better of the two. And in Martin's, it's not. It's the worst of the two. So that mathematical equation gives it really one shot each. Considering the conditioning is equal. From what you can see by pictures, guys. Obviously, if you're not there, you can't say for sure. But judging from what I see here, Martin's condition is right up to par with Phil Heath. Old Fiddler in 2008. Go to the abs and thigh. Another closey. This whole matchup, even Martin, I'm sure he was losing a lot of poses. But every one he wasn't losing too bad. Like here even. It's could be, and I can hear you guys now. Mark's Max Muscle, why oh why do you missize them so very often? You ruin my day. Well, you gotta understand, Martin, he's crouching down a little bit, leaning forward, and all those things, and he is probably an inch shorter than Phil Heath, Mr. Phil. Phil's holding his upper body up straight. Good abs and thigh for both guys. So it is thin skin, things of that nature, all of the way. Perfect condition. Both of these guys brought it for their Olympia debuts. And in the most muscular, very hard to judge. Definitely hard to judge. You'll notice I put the calves in for Phil Heath for sizing. Hey, I wanted to get as close as I could with the scaling of these guys. But even if you don't have the feet, it is definitely hard. It makes it so much easier if you have the whole body. But anyway, the little trials and tribulations of being a YouTuber. And those are definitely small trials and tribulations. And speaking of that, I wanted to thank each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel. Without you guys, I would not be able to do what I do. That kind of sounded like a commercial, but really it wasn't. There was no ill will meant. Just a free thank you. No strings attached. All right, just one. Go ahead and subscribe. No. You don't have to if you don't want to. But yes, a very close matchup. And you might just as well. We say might as well here in Canada, eh? You might just as well end with a crab position. Phil going a little higher. And Martin, is it Martin or Martine? Have I been calling him the wrong name this whole time? Let us know in the comments section below, Martin, if it's Martin or Martine. I know you're watching, sitting there. Maybe you're doing cardio. You're always lifting weights. Constantly. You get a problem with it. I'm just joking. So yes, Phil, he's winning more shots, winning more poses. A shot like this looks like Martin's in better condition, but ultimately they are very similar in that aspect. And yeah, it would be 3rd place for Phil and 4th place for Martin. And that's exactly what they got, what they received, not what they got, what they received. You gotta speak proper for you lads and laddies. Yeah, Phil wins. Martin, close second. He will be Mr. Olympia someday. Mark my words. Have a nice one. There. Good video. Fiddle diddle diddle fiddle 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 fiddle. You're still recording. What'd you say, Terry? Whoops.